Welcome to the Savvy Woman Show. I'm Catherine Magana, a certified financial planner professional, here with Rachel Ivanovich, who is a tax strategist and wealth advisor for Savvy Woman Wealth Management, where we educate and enlighten our clients into being educated investors and help them with their financial lives. So the purpose of the Savvy Woman Show is to educate women about money, life, and just different planning ideas in general. And so we have the opportunity to connect with female advocates, entrepreneurs, and authors. And we really want to hear life stories. And the idea is to share this and get the message and really share some of the experiences we've had for our clients. So today we have a few special guests with us. We have Andria Taylor and Valerie Lynn from the Mentors Collective, which is igniting the power of women through mentorship and community. So welcome.
We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
So, ladies, tell us about your dream that is unfolding.
Be glad to tell you. So, the Mentors Collective, as you mentioned, Catherine, our passion is really around women. Both of us have been in leadership and worked with women. And it really is our passion to help support and equip other women. So we started probably about 6 months ago working on this together. So really excited to see it come together and really equip and empower women through mentorship.
So tell us a little bit about how your story. How did you get here?
Okay. So I have a really interesting background. I've done a lot of different things. Worked in nonprofit. I've worked in consulting and worked in leadership development. Most recently in healthcare, and actually that's where Valerie and I met, working in healthcare and development. But I think my passion is really around women. Women are really my calling because I feel like women aren't always as confident as they could be, as they need to be, and they have so much to offer. And so really that and leadership development. So that's really been my background in leadership development. And I've done all things from onboarding executives to leadership development programs. That's really my passion because I think leadership matters and leadership at the top. And women have a unique opportunity, I think, to lead and lead well. So that's really kind of how I got here.
And Valerie, how about you? How did you end up coming together? What's your background?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say thank you. It's always so flattering to be invited to the table, and I love this. It's so elevating to be around you guys. So thank you, or gals, I should say. And I am still working in the corporate space a little bit. And so through that journey, I have learned a lot about not only myself, but leadership, of course. And I've also been really grateful to be part of a women's resource group. So similar to employee resource groups that a lot of companies have. And so we've actually grown our women's resource group now to over 700 members. And part of that is a mentorship program that we offer to them. And we always hear such positive stories about women who feel so empowered, being able to be connected. And so Andria and I were talking about different ideas, and that was kind of how this whole thing was born, was how can we bring this outside of that and into the world in a different way where, yes, we have a mentorship program, but we also are finding different ways in the community to hold events, to hold connection gatherings. And so we're really excited about launching this and putting it out there into the world.
So tell us a little bit about, are there certain industries or is it general? Like what kind of, what type of women are you looking for or do you work with?
I feel like right now we don't have a specific industry. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But because we're so new at this, I think eventually we'll start looking at maybe industries where predominantly they're male industries. What am I trying to say?
Dominated.
Male dominated, where we can really kind of find the women there and help grow them and inspire them. But for now, we're open to kind of all women who are interested in it.
I think what we're seeing, Catherine, is there are women who have businesses, like you all have their own businesses, entrepreneurs, or women in the corporate space who want to give back, who want to mentor, who really care about helping elevate other women in this space. And then there's women in careers who are like, wow, is there more? Or if I want to grow. So we're really kind of seeing both sides, like working with women in the entrepreneurial space and then women who are maybe in corporate.
And how do you get at the ladder? Or how do you move forward?
Or, is there more? Because sometimes a corporate can be soul numbing at some times. And so how do you, is there more? Could I step outside of this? What else is there? So it's really exciting to kind of see that synergy in just the women that have been coming to the Mentors Collective. We use the word amazing, but they really are just a great group of women that have been coming.
And I was fortunate enough to be invited to the pilot group, and it was a wonderful evening. So tell us a little bit more about how those have evolved since the launch. What was that in January, February.
Yeah,
it was the beginning of the year.
It was our first event.
And
yeah, it was.
So tell us a little bit about what you've learned from launching this new business, what you might want to share with new business owners or even seasoned business owners.
I think, just to jump in and then feel free to add to it, but I feel like we've learned a lot about how having the power of a network is huge. And so Andria is really well connected and very thankful for that because she's done such a good job of reaching out. And, you know, we always talk about our network is our net worth, and we hear that a lot, but until you put it into play and actually take action on that or are launching a business of your own, do you really see the tangible results of that? And so I think for me, that's been a real eye-opener, is just those connections and the power of people, really.
I think one thing that really confirmed for me was in, because we talk about igniting power, the power of women through community, is women really crave community. Uniquely, I think women love to be with other women that are like-minded, that, you know, whether it's running a business or growing in their own development, that there's, you know, and I've done other businesses. This one has a special quality about it and an attraction, you know, it's got a magic on it. People come and we're excited and they leave excited. It's been really cool to see that the heart of it really is community and supporting one another, which I think women are uniquely gifted to do.
It seems like there are two unique groups. So you've got the business owners who will be mentors, and then you have the mentees. So tell us a little bit more about how you see that evolving and what has happened so far.
Yeah. We just really started that process of inviting people like, would you be interested in being a mentor, or would you be interested in being mentored? And we did a survey recently, and I was really touched that even some of the most accomplished women still said, hey, I would love to be mentored in this area. Like one of our, she's an executive in a local life science firm, and she's like, wow, when we met, it really helped me think about what else could I do? What are my next steps? So as I've been really it's not just one way.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like these women want to grow and continue developing and giving and getting.
Yeah, I think a lot of women are multi-passionate, right? So we have our career, but we have so much also that we're interested in, that we're fired up about. And being able to tap into different resources that can help bring that out of you or show you kind of the way, show you the path, I think that that's really unique. And I think we've also talked about doing a little bit of reverse mentoring too, because as you probably know, when you mentor other people, it's very humbling. And then even being in the reverse role, being mentored, there's a lot of lessons learned, I think, on either side.
So as you're sharing, it's interesting. Rachel and I, we do we meet a lot of women to help them through kind of retirement planning and the idea of retirement. And one of the things that we do is a core values exercise where we kind of look at what's important to you and why. And we're always circling back to that. It's like, that's the message. And that's, as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about my core values. I'm like, my core values are family and community, integrity. I'm like, well, you guys, you are creating community. And and as you're sharing, I'm also, thinking, I am the professional, I am the mom. And, we wear all these different hats. Right. And absolutely we want to uplift other women, because it's a lot to take on, especially if you're raising a family and you're also a caregiver, or you have a lot of different things that hats you're running, or even running a business. So I feel it seems like you have something very unique and special where you can come together, you can connect, and it's life. I mean, it's like what are the needs and how are we going to help each other get to the next level?
I think one of the powers of it is that that you're not alone in what you're struggling with or what you're juggling, and knowing, wow, you have your mom living with you too, or you have an elderly relative that you're helping take care of. Because when you're doing it all by yourself, you think, wow, I'm the only one. And then you can actually gain that insight and just the support and the camaraderie of having someone else walk with you.
Right. Exactly. And you reminded me, Catherine, I know you've talked about your journey where you first started at financial services and they asked you to get the coffee.
Yes. I'm not getting you coffee. I'm just kidding. Where's my coffee? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for bringing us coffee.
I know, actually. Thank you. She's like, I remember your story. That was nice. It's a nice shift. It's a change.
And so, I mean, that really is our heart to empower women. And I think the other point one thing that's unique is we took our focus on mentoring, because coaching is a big thing right now. But for mentoring, anybody can be a mentor. I was I have twins, and so I was president of the Mothers of Twins Club when I lived in Napa, because I walked down that road and it was so hard, and I wanted to support other women. And one of the things I've learned is, you reference it, is there's seasons in your life, right? And you can mentor in whatever you bring to the table. It doesn't have to be like you're a coach and you're certified and you ask these special questions. Mentoring is much more relational. It's more personal, and like you're saying, supporting women in that journey and knowing, yeah, I've been there. I get it. And here's some advice I learned, or how I handled that situation when I was asked to do something that was not really my role.
And everyone can reflect on, mentors in their life that have been really impactful. Yeah. We've done that several times at events where we go around the room and say, can you share someone who was a mentor in your life, whether it was a professional mentor or somebody that informally mentored you? And there's always really beautiful, impactful stories of people who helped shape the narratives of somebody's life. And so I think that's a driver for us too, is just leading women to that place.
I think a coach is somebody who is drawing potential out of you, versus a mentor for me is more someone who will come alongside you and help guide and teach you and has gone before you.
It's a great definition. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of coaching.
And we need both.
We do need both.
But I truly feel what you're doing as a collaborative is truly impactful.
Yeah. I think it makes it more accessible for people. And, as we're thinking about, as we move the business forward, what might that look like? And really creating, whether we go in and work with, companies that either male-dominant industries to help support the women in those companies, or if we work with, women-owned companies to like, hey, we have mentors that are available. Or would you like to come help mentor others, that like we can like work in a lot of different spaces to really help support women's growth and development.
And it's interesting you said male-dominated industries. I mean, that's
the
kind of
tax
where
profession
tax and
and
financial. I mean, that was
Yes.
when I first got in the business 25 years ago. I mean, there was only a handful of females, and it's evolved, but it's still 75% male approximately and 25% female. But it's evolved over time, but it definitely is very still male-dominated. But I think having resources and being able to guide and help, and not just in industry, but what I really like what you guys are doing is it's the community aspect. It's like coming together. Yes, you have different industries, but the reality is you actually learn from each other. You learn from those that are around you, and you inspire each other. And so I know even in the financial planning world, I helped launch the Women's Initiative a few years ago for financial planning of San Diego. And I absolutely love it, but it's down in San Diego. I'm up here, so it gets hard logistically to do everything. But I definitely feel, I have, we bring on interns and things. I definitely want to help as much as I can, because I feel like the more we can encourage other women, then they'll be involved in this business, because without knowing it can be a little overwhelming, or you feel like intimidated, but the reality is you can do anything as long as you're guided in the right direction.
I feel like a saying I always come back to is proof of what's possible. And when you have women that go first, they shine that light and give proof of what's possible for others. And so I think that's a reflection of what you just said.
We're planners. So what's ahead in the next 12 months and maybe the next 3 years for the Mentors Collective?
Good question.
That's a good question. So right now, our next steps are really building our mentor pool and the matching process and bringing those women together. And so we've talked about we could either we could create almost like that. We would be the Mentors Collective, and we offer mentors that women could be mentored, whether they want to come individually, or we could go to a company and say, particularly like smaller or mid-size, that we would say, hey, we have mentors for you. Would you like us to provide that? That would be a service that we could provide. We also, I see that there could be industry specific. In the future, this would be down the road as we grow. But I love that idea of like other women who want to be in finance, women who want to be in the wine industry, in these different areas where we could help grow and develop that. Hopefully within 5 years, like my goal is, we're going to be doing women's mentoring retreats in Italy or Spain. So I want to go. Right? Yes, we will. Please
Put
come.
that on my goal
We want
board.
you to come. Right? Exactly. No, for sure.
I love it.
We'll help plan that.
So as you're kind of evolving your business, is there anything any takeaways that maybe you would do a little differently, or now that you know, or is there anything like technology or something that maybe that surfaced that, okay, now that I know this, I would do this a little differently?
I think that maybe having more specifics aligned ahead of time. We really grew this organically. So I think there's pros and cons to both, right? So we've really grown this just from kind of our love of getting women together. And then we had the idea, and we've just kind of over the course of time, evolved. And I think that's been really beautiful, but sometimes we are, building the plane a little bit as we fly it. And so.
And also, I think part of that is getting the feedback too. Like
Right.
What are the needs and what do people want? And I think kind of, that kind of helps too.
Yeah, we wanted to co-create it. So we didn't want it to feel like we're coming to you without even having heard you. And so many of us, I feel like, especially as women, we get told a lot of what programs are going to be helpful, what's, helpful advice. And we didn't want it to feel that way. So instead, we created it the way that we have been. And that's been really awesome. But then again, we're building it as we go.
Yes, we are. Yeah. I think part of the beauty has been, and this is something I wouldn't do differently, but just Valerie and I really have the same passion and the same heart, but we bring different skills that are very complementary. So I've really enjoyed that because our relationship has grown, and I'm sure you all have experienced that as well.
Yes.
As we're starting to grow the business, to figure out you do this, and learning and growing those new skills, whether it's posting on social media or how do we communicate and promote our brand.
I think you learn what you're good at too. When you create, you probably can speak to that too. You start learning, this is where I really thrive. And this is actually not so much my zone of genius. So we're going to send that to somebody else who is good at that.
I love that. But there's so many hats we have to wear sometimes.
Exactly. When you're starting,
Just do it.
Yes.
I will say I feel fortunate, like some of the women we started pulling into community with us bring some of those skills, whether they're financial, how do you start as an entrepreneur financially? What are the things you need to think about? I feel like we've been blessed that way. Of like people have just kind of shown up to help us to grow, like you say, to co-create it together.
So speaking of hats, how do you manage business and life and the balancing that goes on there?
I think that's something I've been doing for a long time.
You do have twins.
Being a mother's twins, you kind of have
They
to.
are 19. This morning I left the house. Of course, they were both still asleep, and one called me, "Mom, where are you going?" I told you where I was going.
I'm working.
I do think I'm a big believer in seasons. Like I went through coach training, and one of the things I got out of that is like I can't, you feel overwhelmed because you want to do everything, and you can, but you just can't do it all at once. It's very much about seasons and balancing that. And recently stepping out of corporate because I had that flexibility, whereas before, like I work full time because I'm a single parent as well, and so supporting my family. And now having that opportunity as they're getting more independent and going to school, it is a lot. So
It's a lot.
it's possible. It is a lot, but it's possible. And I love doing it. I think it gives you the choices. You could always, like you said, where do I really want to play? Where do I really want to invest? And creating a business that mentors and develops other women's really something I want to be doing.
I think it's very powerful that you said you can do everything, you just can't do it all at once.
Yeah.
And it really boils down to what's important now and the season that you're in.
Yeah, and I know that was your...
That's my word for the year.
That's my word. It was funny. Yeah, when the other thing my metaphor that I took away, because it was like a coaching session I did with a group was like, she's like, how can you anchor that? And for me, it was a sunflower because they turn towards the sun, right? So they're big, they're beautiful, but they turn towards the sun. So it's kind of that reflection of like, what do I need to focus on now? Where's, where I need to really focus on being a mom, which, never goes away. Where do I want to focus on my business? Where do I spend my energy here and there?
And we were just talking about that at lunch the other day because your twins had their last day of school.
They did, yeah.
And
So yesterday was the last day of school, and they just had their last driver's ed class on Saturday.
Oh my goodness, that's
they're
a lot.
They're only 15 and a half almost, but I'm like,
Right.
everything's happening so quickly. And, I too struggle with, I absolutely love what I do. I love the business. I love helping clients. I mean, I could be here all
wanna
day,
do it
all
all.
night. And
Yes.
But the twins, they had, after school yesterday, they wanted to go to the beach and be with their friends. And so I told Rachel, I think I'm going to leave early, but I was like, I'm so busy. She's like, just
Go.
do it. And I said, you
Go.
know what? Because then it goes back to my values. Like my values are family, and if I'm not going to put them first, then why is that my top value? And so,
Because we do the core value exercise every month.
yeah,
And
it reminds me of like, oh,
clients.
yes.
Great
So we're
exercise.
circling family, and then we're like, okay, I have all this work to do.
I know.
Wait,
Yeah.
I said that family is important to me. Okay, I'm leaving to go do that with my family.
And we put the hours. It's not like I don't put the hours in. It's just
It's just when you put them in.
and it's like, okay, you know
Yes.
what? I can do it. It's just making
I'm bringing
sure
you sunflowers.
There you go. I love that.
That's perfect.
like
They're
that.
to be growing more and more soon. I think the other thing I've always come to is like I only get to raise my kids once.
Yes.
Because I was working in like corporate healthcare and moving into different roles. I was like, I only get to raise my kids once. I can find another job. I can, and so that's for me at the heart of
My coach,
important.
also, I had a business coach for many, many years when my kids were younger. That's what she said. And so I didn't volunteer on any boards until Sasha graduated from high school. And then I drove him across the country and dropped him off at college. And when I came back, I joined 3 boards. But it's really about the seasons and knowing, what's important in that season.
Exactly.
And you can do it all.
Yeah.
Just
No,
not
it's not
all at once.
And that was really freeing to think.
I really,
there's-
really love
there's
that.
future.
Yeah.
Like for example, like travel is one of I love to travel. If I had that extra
Oh, me
money,
too.
I think Valerie and I have that in common. Like I would go somewhere like overseas, but it's like I haven't traveled a whole lot until my kids have gotten older, just because it's.
And we're going to be doing that retreat in Italy soon.
I
We
know.
are. Okay, I'll put that on the calendar. We're planning
Yes.
it.
But it's putting priorities. Like,
Yes.
what if your priorities are your kids right now, getting them through that next
Yes.
phase? Then you can go back and do what you want to do too. You can do the mix. It's just looking at
Maybe you're just not doing it as big. Maybe we're not going to Italy. Maybe you're going to
Grand Canyon.
Grand
There you go.
Canyon, or you're going to Santa Barbara for the weekend, or you're going up to Idlewild, or something smaller.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be the grand scale now.
So Valerie, what do you like to do for fun? What's
Yes.
kind of some fun things besides working and doing all this? What's something?
Well,
She is fun.
She is fun. You are fun.
I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I am one of those weirdos that
Okay.
I love working.
Okay,
So
like us.
Then we're all weirdos.
But it is one of those things. I have a lot of passion. So I also have a podcast that I just recently started.
Oh, cool.
I love it.
Nice.
I love working with women on just leadership development. How can they really use their voice in the world? How do they story tell to be that authentically self-led woman who's making an impact? And so I am sometimes teased by my partner. He's like, you just love working so much. I'm like, I really do. So my thing is really about getting really intentional with my focus and using time blocking and making sure that I'm making time for fun.
Yeah.
So I do love travel. I think I went to multiple states in the last several weeks, and it's been great. A little bit of a whirlwind, but I do love that. I'm active. I love the beach. I love hanging out with amazing women. This really is my passion. So yeah.
So what's the best way for us to contact you? Maybe you can share a phone number or website, and then also share, if you want to share the podcast, how we can get in touch with you for that.
Sure. Andrea has a wonderful email list that we can add you to.
I'm the communicator, so
Yeah.
the best way, we are building our website currently.
Okay.
So
It's
so
in the
exciting.
works, yes.
Can't wait to see
You
it.
can find us on Instagram
Okay,
at
great.
This Is The Mentors Collective. You can also reach out to me at Andria at The Mentors Collective, but it is Andria, thanks to my father, at thementorscollective.com. So Andria at thementorscollective.com.
And they throw great events.
Yes.
Yes, we do monthly events. The one we have coming up shortly is speed mentoring. We prove better results than speed dating. You get much
Guaranteed.
better, guaranteed.
Or your money back.
Is there wine involved? Just kidding.
Yes, there is actually.
Get a bunch of women in a room with a bottle of wine.
Well,
and
there we go.
Right.
Let's do it.
It's always an amazing time.
But we share our upcoming events in Andrea's newsletter.
Okay,
So that's
great.
a really great way we can get you added to the email list. And then we do have our website under construction too. So
Yes.
definitely come look for us.
Wonderful.
Do you want to share about your podcast?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, tell us about your
tell us
podcast.
about
So the podcast is called The Women on Top, intentionally sassy name because it's for sassy, bold women who are doing edgy work in the world, who are showing up as amazing leaders. And I just love having that platform. As you know, it's such a powerful platform to be able to share their voices and stories and just being able to connect.
Oh, do
differently.
we
So-
have a woman for you? We went
All the
down
women.
to the La Jolla Institute for Immunology last week. We did a field trip
Yes.
because we had 2 scientists, doctors on our podcast. They
So
were our last.
interesting. Yeah.
It
It
was
was fast. It was,
was
so amazing.
fascinating.
Yeah. And then we
Yes.
got a little tour. We looked at microscopes. I mean,
And
it
they had
was
this
so
huge
fun.
microscope we
was
got to look
fun.
through. But one of the women there, I mean, she's
Powerhouse.
powerhouse. Well, actually, all of them are, and they were all women. I didn't see really any men there, which was
They might have done that intentional for us.
The savvy
Because we
women
brought
are
up a bunch of
coming.
women, but yes.
yeah. But yeah, we'll connect you.
Okay, perfect. I'm always open to those connections. That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Andrea and Valerie, for joining us. We had an amazing time with you this morning. It's Rachel's
pleasure.
birthday, so we get to
I
celebrate
know.
a little birthday with her as
Birthday.
well.
Coffee celebration.
Thank you.
Thank
Celebration.
you.
This has been wonderful. You both are just doing really powerful work, and so I have to commend you for that. You're paving the way for other women leaders, and especially in this space, it's super impactful. So I know you probably hear that all the time, but I think you don't quite realize that legacy that you're leaving.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
It's fun for us.
Yeah, oh, it's great. Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. So every show we like to leave with a little quote. So we'll turn it over to Rachel.
The quote today is, "A mentor is someone who allows you to see hope inside yourself." And that is from Oprah Winfrey.
That's powerful.
That's-
So we've come to the end of our Savvy Woman show. Rachel Ivanovich and myself, Catherine Magana, want to thank you for joining us. And remember, knowledge is power for successful investing. Never stop learning, and savvy up. Please stay tuned for important regulatory disclosures.
Savvy Women Wealth Management is an SEC registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry and how we may be able to assist. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Tax considerations presented may not be appropriate for every individual circumstance. A tax professional should be consulted before making any decisions about your tax liability.